I want to get better at Fortnite, and one of the best ways to do that is to learn a location on the map inside and out by dropping there 100 times. This time we're taking on Moisty Mire, the swampy region of the Fortnite map. And as always, I'd like to shout out YouTuber TheNotable, who was the first to undertake the 100 drops challenge. A link to his channel will be in the description of this video. But I've dawdled long enough with the intro. I dropped Moisty Mire 100 times, and this is what happened. Here we are, game number 1 dropping into Moisty Mire, and we're starting off with a bit of duos because my brother hopped on for a few matches. We started off by dropping into the Moisty Mire prison, which is just on the edge of the location. It's a great place to drop if you're playing with more than one person, but don't worry, we're going to cover some solo drop spots later in this video too. And when I recorded the start of these 100 drops, the Zappatron was in the game for a limited time, so you're going to see me use it a lot throughout these early games. The Zappatron is an energy-based sniper rifle that has literally no bullet drop, you just gotta charge it up, and it does an insane amount of damage. It was pretty OP. I got the jump on this guy and then proceeded to go about looting the prison to my heart's content. Back to fighting though, because people started to rush the prison. Not to worry, they weren't that good. But they still got the jump on my brother and knocked him down, so now I have to take this guy out. I had no mats and awful health, but then he missed literally every single one of his shots, allowing me to kill him. I also executed this guff with my Zappatron. It was quite satisfying. Popped the reboot on my brother and then got on the move. We made it to the final circle, and I had pretty good positioning until I got sniped. Yeah, those Zappatrons are deadly. And with my brother caught in a 2v1, this wasn't going to end fantastically. Game number 2, we went to this tree in the middle of Moisty that spawns 3 chests every single time. This is one of those great solo drops I was talking about earlier. There's also a hut with another 2 chests just a little bit further down from there. But I'd say the biggest bonus about Moisty Mire is the amazing materials. You're always going to get a massive amount of wood coming to this location. Strong materials normally help you win build fights like these, unless the enemies are 50 times better than you. One of the enemies did fall to his death, but like I said about 2 seconds ago, they were better. Game number 3 is back to prison, and these towers on the edge of the location will actually always have some chests for you if you didn't know. And with the height advantage, even a pistol can carry you to a few kills. Actually, I'm not convinced this guy was a real human. Then I had to interrupt my brother's looting to put down a man on our property. But with the prison cleared out, we could now harvest up all the cars in the surrounding area for some pretty decent metal. We went supply drop hunting and our loot was getting pretty stacked. I then saw a guy standing over a massive pile of Zappatrons, so I decided to introduce him to my Zappatron. We pushed in and realised that these guys were 100% real human beings. When we eventually put him down, we realised this guy was carrying pretty much every single Zappatron in the lobby. I have no idea why he had about 16 of these. Turns out there was more people though, and they took down my brother real fast. But they didn't last long. I'm pretty sure he got them quite low. I got the revive off and then we headed for zone. We even had time to pounce on another team on our way into the circle. It got down to us versus one guy, but I had absolutely no idea where he was. Fortunately, my brother did and sniffed him out under a tree, bagging us the victory royale. That's 1 down and many more to go. But game number 4 would not be one of those games. And in game number 5, we were pounced on by the resident sweats of the lobby. Yeah, we didn't make it. Game number 6, we went about clearing out the prison and then cruised our way into the final circle. Unfortunately, we were demolished by the last team in the match for 2nd place. Game number 7 is the first game dropping into solos. I managed to win a build fight, but then 2 seconds later I got sniped. I don't even know what happened in game number 8. Circle was tiny, top 3 situation, and this guy just decided to carpet bomb with traps. Game number 9, I dropped into the 3 chest tree and then didn't see anyone for the majority of the game. That's going to happen quite a bit when you drop Moisty Mire. You're not very central on the map, so you get a lot of time to just loot up in peace. That can be a benefit, but also you don't get into as many fights as you would dropping somewhere like Tilted Towers or Salty Springs. Playing conservative for the entire match ended up being a huge help though. in the top 2 in a metal base with a nice view of the surroundings, I was feeling pretty good. Storm forced me to move, and I saw the other player in the match searching for me in the distance. And with a beautifully aimed shot from the Zappatron, I was able to bag my second victory royale. I wish I could say game number 10 went anywhere near as good. I started game number 11 by clearing this intruder out of Moisty Mire. And I know I've already said it, but you gotta take advantage of those great materials. I went to loot the prison and grabbed another kill on this guy. I saw an incredibly sweaty build fight going on in the distance, so the only natural response was to hide in a bush. And while I might be a coward, I'm a coward who's a great shot. Yeah, that guy probably was not very happy. The last zone was on my side. The only other player in the match had to push me from his previous build fight. And with a quick spray of my AK, I successfully won the game. You know, one thing I've noticed dropping into Moisty Mire is that I tend to place in the top 10 a huge amount of times across these games. And that's likely because you just don't run into that many people throughout the duration of the game. I just had a hell of a lot more footage for these 100 games compared to when I dropped Salty Springs 100 times, because going there, a ton of the games would just end in the first 5 seconds if someone beat you to a gun, or you just got in a really sweaty fight you couldn't get out of. And speaking of really sweaty fights you can't get out of, getting sprayed by both of the last players in a top 3 situation tends to be one of those. Game 13, I was shown no mercy by a rare Moisty Mire sweat. We're back to Zappatroning in game number 14. I made it to an incredibly sweaty final circle over Retail Row. I had high ground on the last 2 players in the match and spent most of my time trying to push zone to make sure that I had the superior position. Those 2 remaining players got into a fight, bringing it down to a 1 vs 1. I made an incredibly risky play and gave up the high ground, but it ended up paying off, and I got myself the victory royale. In game number 15, I was pounced on by a man who has never seen sunlight. I did not last very long. Game number 16, I pushed into the top 3, and that's all I'd push it to. Game 17, the boys hopped on, so it was time for some squads. We dropped into the prison and managed to clear the place out pretty easily. And you know I'm always down to hit some shots with the Zappatron. We fought bravely, but the enemy team was pretty good, and regrettably they took us all out. Game 18, I was just minding my own business when I got sniped in the back. It was just my friend left, but unfortunately he just couldn't beat that pink flamingo. We aren't going to talk about game number 19, because this never happened. Nah, never. Game number 20, and do I really need to tell you what weapon I'm using at this point? Final circle, but half the crew was dead, and 2v4s don't normally end that great. Game number 21, and you already know what we had to put on our best bling. You know how it goes, we wiped out the prison, but then we got pounced on by an army of sweats. Game 22, we were going with the 4 knights in bushes strategy. We were attacked almost immediately, but thankfully we won this fight. I carried my brother on my back to safety, but in spite of all that, we still died for 2nd place. Game 23, I'm trying a Zappatron, but turns out some other guy's doing the exact same thing. I had to sit and watch my friends die on the field of war. Game 24, we were on a roll and getting some good kills. But then we got caught in a really awkward position where the last team in the match had zone and we were completely outside of it. So we tried a risky launchpad play, and the risky launchpad play did not end up paying off. Game 25 and we're back to prison. I don't even know what's going on, but everyone's dead. Yeah, I'm not good enough for a 1v4. I'm back to my old tricks in game 26. Alas, we were pushed by a team infinitely better than us, and oh, everyone's dead. Oh, and now I'm dead. Brilliant. I feel like most of the kills I'm showing are Zappatron snipes, but that's literally how much I was using this thing. It was absolutely fantastic. Rest in peace. We got caught in another situation of absolutely horrendous positioning, with the enemy team built up in a base right on top of us. And in Fortnite, the high ground normally wins games. Game 28, we were pushed while trying to enter zone, and I'm now trying to fight on 4 HP. And the sniper behind me was just waiting for a chance. Game 29 is what is commonly referred to as an absolute shambles. Game 30, we're running Iron Man and War Machine duos. And this got to be one of the most embarrassing games of Fortnite I ever played. I managed to successfully clutch up the insanely sweaty build fight and put this guy down with a nice shotgun shot, before then falling to my death trying to get off the builds. Oh my god. Game 31, it's back to solos. I farmed up some mega materials around Moisty Mire that allowed me to push all the way into the late game. Got in a build fight with this guy, but to my surprise, I actually managed to kill him. Top 3 situation, and the circle is filled with so many builds you can't even move. And when this Godzilla jumped down, I saw my chance, edited my wall, and shot him down. I was looking for the last player of the match when I heard the sound of a man falling 15 stories, and I won the game. Always feels good when they end the game for you. Game 32 is another top 3 situation, but now because of skill-based matchmaking, I'm playing against people who've never touched grass. Game 33, I've got on the most fire outfit you've ever laid your eyes on, and yes, the pun was definitely intended. I still died because you can't polish a turd. It's alright, I've got an even cooler version of it in Game 34. And for once, we had people actually drop into Moisty. They should have learnt whose turf this is. And now I need to show you the absolute state of this guy's reaction to being shot. Everyone can relax, the sweat has been put down. The final circle was getting tiny as hell and there were still 3 of us alive, so I put all my faith in my medkits, and I knew they'd never let me down. I think Game 35 illustrates my Fortnite skills perfectly. Game 36, I'm dead. And in Game 37, I'm dead and in second place, so it stings even more. Game 38, I killed this guy. And that's the only kill I'd be getting that match. Welcome to Game 39. You'll definitely hate it here. And I can definitely say the same about Game 40. Again with that added second place salt in the wound. Game 41, I engaged in some potassium-fueled purging. But the sweat hurt the fighting, and even with my great loot, I was not able to beat him. Game 42, I'm dropping back into some duos with my brother, but this is the shortest video file that I have, so I'll let you have one guess at what happened. Game 43, I was able to take down this guy from a distance, but I'm pretty sure his teammate was in FNCS, because he cleaned us up in about 2 seconds. Game 44. Game 45. And Game 46 was another total disaster. Game 47 started with a full frontal assault on the prison. We cleaned the place out and then moved on to the wider Moisty Mire. We killed duo after duo and we were doing a really good job, but unfortunately we just couldn't overcome those rockets in the final circle and we had to settle for second place. And in Game 48 we did an awful job of clearing out the prison. We were showed little in the way of mercy. Game 49, I'm playing solos again, and I'm also coming second place again. I just feel right at home. Game 50, and it's time for a little bit of build fighting, and this time, I won. This last zone was rapidly closing over Loot Lake, and I was running out of mats while getting sniped at. I thought for sure I was finished. I got in a hell of a build fight with the last player, and I knew he was a lot better than me. He hit me for a huge chunk of my health, but then with a blast of my own, I claimed the victory. I was genuinely convinced I was going to lose that one. Back in some duos for Game 51. But I completely fumbled my double pump, causing us to die for 4th place. Yeah, it's already back to solos. Which means it's back to me getting killed. Game 53 is probably going to go down in history as the most bizarre game of Fortnite I've ever played. It started off relatively normal, getting some kills out of Moisty, just doing my thing. But that's when we get to late game, and I notice a guy called Vuk has been killing everyone in the kill feed. Eventually, it turns into a 1 vs 1 situation, me against Vuk. But then things pan out in a way I could have never really expected. Suddenly, Vuk halts his attacks, drops his weapons and everything he's carrying in his inventory, and just starts dancing around the map with me. But this is where the real bizarreness comes in. Me and Vuk huddled close, knowing that the storm was destined to take one of us. But as it closed, we just started taking absolutely no damage. We were totally confused and just stood there being awestruck by the fact we were completely immune to any and all storm damage. It even gave us time for some wholesome sharing of emoticons. But eventually Vuk, the absolute legend, bid his farewell and dived off the edge to provide me with the victory royale. I'll never forget you, Vuk. What a hero. Game 54, the boys are back on. Please don't ask me what my friend was doing here with this pistol, because I have no idea. Game 55 was going alright. We were taking out a lot of squads as we carried on through the match. Well, that is until we got pinned in Storm by a team with much better position than us. We managed a meager third for our efforts. Game 56, we're playing duos. I never said we were playing duos well. Game 57. Game 58, it was a 2v1 and we still died. I'm starting to think we're not very good at this. Game 59, we're in squads and it was going pretty good. Until it wasn't going pretty good. That's 2 second places in a row. Come on. Game number 60, I was absolutely determined to get that win. And as a squad, we were playing pretty well. I had to carry my friend broken and battered away from the build fight as we ran from the storm. But when we were shot at, I needed my hands free to shoot the enemy, and so I committed the ultimate betrayal.
What the hell? Oh my god!
We killed the enemy in his honor. And I'm convinced they were the last real humans in the game, as this guy was 100% a robot, causing us to win the Victory Royale at long last. Yeah, 2 second places in a row does not give you a lot of patience. I want to take game 61 to point out this new Battle Pass skin with the traffic cone on its head is absolutely top tier. It doesn't make me any better though. And we should probably just move on from game 62 and game 63. In game 64, my health looked like this during the final 1v1. I don't know what I thought was going to happen. Then in game 65, I almost had this guy, but he still killed me. I'm not totally sure what even happened in game 66. In game 67, I was farming up the Moisty Mire trees for some big materials. And I then used those materials to get a few nice kills. This game was going to come down to a build fight 1v1, and with all the practice I've had across these games, I managed to pull out the win. But then in game 68, I played nowhere near as good. And I was all set to have a good game 69, until I got sniped. Then in game 70, I did not pull off the minigun play. In game 71, my headphones disconnected. I did not survive the experience. Game 72. In game 73, I got sweated on. And in game 74, he just had better aim. I just couldn't win the build fight in game 75. Game 76, I tried to spray the last guy down with a minigun. I failed miserably. Game 77. Game 78. And game 79. Don't worry guys, I'm good at Fortnite in game 80. I'm also good at lying in game 80. Game 81, this sniper bullet introduced itself to the back of my head. Game 82, the circle had fully closed and it was going to come down to a heal off. But with only bandages, I did not win this one. And then next in game 83, I fought one of the sweatiest opponents of all time. I'm being a little bit sneaky in game 84. It was a top 3 situation, so I made it into a top 2 situation. The other guy was hiding underneath my build, so it's time to reattempt the heal-off strat. But this time I had medkits, and was able to secure that win. Game 85 was then an immediate fumble. And so was game 86. Game 87, he hit his double pump shots, and I did not. And I kept on missing straight into Game 88. In Game 89, he knew how to edit. I had absolutely no chance. Game 90, we eliminated each other at the exact same time. If you've seen 100 drops at Salty Springs, you know this is the second time this has happened now. Game 91 was over in a flash. And then Game 92 was nearly just as bad. I figured Game 93 was going for a heal-off, but I was definitely wrong. I had high hopes going into Game 94. I probably should have known better. Then in Game 95, I was reintroduced to my old friend high-caliber sniper rounds. In Game 96, I was racking up quite a few kills. Then as the game neared its end, I was feeling pretty good about my chances. I should learn to trust myself less. Game 97. And there goes Game 98. I completely messed up double pumping in Game 99. And I wish I could tell you that game number 100 ended in victory, but instead, it ended in a tactical nuclear strike. Moisty Mire is a great little out-of-the-way location, and it's really taught me a lot about Fortnite. Sometimes you want a nice slow start to the match where you don't immediately get killed by a sweat, and Moisty Mire is perfect for that. Dropping into Moisty Mire, I was able to get 11 wins, thanks in great part to the abundance of materials scattered around the location. And I secured a nice 240 kills across all my 100 games. This challenge has been an amazing time, and I'm sure sooner or later I'll find myself dropping into another location 100 times. But until then, this has been great. That's all, folks.